Welcome to Romance Happy Hour. I'm Dylann Crush, and I'm here with my co-hostess, Dawn Luedecke.
Hi.
This is our only November show. We won't have a
Yes.
show on Thanksgiving. I'm sure that everybody'd rather hang out with family than hang out with us, or maybe not. I don't know. I guess that depends. But we are here tonight with Tabetha Waite Kilby Blades. So super excited to have you ladies with us this evening and hear you read from your work.
Yes.
So, Dawn, tell us, what have you been up to? Have they started filming Yellowstone again in your town yet, or?
They have not. I mean, they did for like a week and then they didn't. So I don't know. I did put my name in to be an extra. So we'll see. I don't know, but might have to adjust like my because they asked for like your weight and stuff. I might have to adjust my weight like by the time they get here because we got all the holidays and all that. But I don't know. We'll see. My mom bought the box set though, and she's like, "Here, make sure you watch it all and study it all really well." And Team Beth, right, or whatever she said, So
Funny.
we'll see.
If you're
But
joining us for the first time, Dawn moved to Montana and lives in this little teeny tiny town where they film Yellowstone. So we're all living vicariously through her.
yeah, and I'm really hoping to be an extra because it'd be way cool. I want to be like snapping pictures with like Kevin Costner far in the background or something, Like,
Any updates on the writing front?
Yeah, so I've been doing NaNoWriMo and I'm going to say 50-50 is what I'm about getting because, November, do you think that they did NaNoWriMo in November just to challenge us authors because they know that it's like massively distracting because they feel like everything is coming up this month. But I'm almost done with Alexa Jade book. I got about 7,000 more words, and then I'm starting on a book for my agent. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. Go ahead.
Not to be sexist, but I've always said that it was probably a man who invented NaNoWriMo or
Yeah.
somebody who has zero responsibilities when it comes to Thanksgiving. Because to me, like November is like if I don't have half of my words written by November 10th, which I totally don't, there's just no way. There's no way I can like get through Nano.
Yeah.
I'm not even trying this year because
No.
all three of my kids and my husband have birthdays between December 3rd and like January 2nd. And so it's like November is always crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have done it in the past, but yeah, I didn't even want to try this year.
Yeah.
Too busy.
I only did because I need to get a book out next month and I've got 7,000 words left to write on it. And my friend's like, NaNoWriMo. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I made the mistake of like trying to update my Scrivener. And then it's like I hit the update for Scrivener and all of a sudden like now I have to buy it again at like I'm like, well, I got to hit that freaking goal so I can get 50% off. So my motivation is to get Scrivener for 50% off. That's my motivation, but
I'm sure you can do it.
What about you? I know you're a busy girl, woman.
Yeah, I am busy. I have, I feel like I've been talking about my whiskey series for years, and I think it has been in the works for years, but I have the first book back from first round of edits, and I'm sending that off next week for another round. And then I just got the first book in my brand new cowboy series I just got back for edits last Friday, and I have to send that back by the beginning of December. And so, yeah, everything's moving. So yeah, edits have been keeping me very busy.
Well, I expect a beta read that whiskey series for you, just so you know, because I can't wait to read it.
Yeah,
and I promise I won't spoil anything.
I was researching today and I actually copied and then I forgot to paste it. But I was going to say, like, my research for today was all about the reproductive systems of donkeys. So if that gives you any indication about what I might be writing about, I don't know. I think our Google history is a dangerous thing as writers. So how about you? How about you, Tabetha? You want to tell us a little bit about what you write and what you've been up to and all that good stuff?
Well, I'm going to say I didn't do NaNoWriMo this year because my oldest daughter is actually going to turn 21 next Wednesday. So
Ooh.
we're gonna have some fun next weekend.
Yeah.
So, but other than that,
I mean, NaNoWriMo is a whole month, you know.
oh, I know, but just I had to, make sure I get plenty of rest, before. So, well, I write historical romance and set in the Regency, some in Victorian. I even wrote a paranormal. I just kind of skip all over the place, just wherever the muse leads me. You know how that goes sometimes, and
Yeah.
so. And I live in Missouri where there's no movies ever shot. It's always boring. So at least where I'm at, you know.
Mm.
So that's it.
Well,
I've got some questions already, so but I'm going to save them for later. I'm writing them
sorry,
down.
I didn't have questions yet. I hadn't.
No, I have questions.
Oh, gotcha. How about you, Kilby? What have you been up to? I see you're sipping on something yummy, and I'm wondering, is that your hot buttered rum?
This is my hot buttered rum.
We need the recipe.
Yes. Oh my
Not
gosh.
only is it hot buttered rum, I recently discovered the best trick for making hot buttered rum because for years and years I've been making like just these big vats of it. And my husband and I are the only people of age in our house. So every time we make it, we just get wasted because we've been like making the full recipe. But a hack that I just learned is, you make the butter, like you make the butter with the spices and the sugar, and then you just freeze it in like the individual ice cubes or like the little silicone deals. And then you can make a single serving. So I just like popped a little butter pat out of my freezer and put some cider in and put some rum in and put some water. So I've just been like, it is the most wonderful, most comforting drink. It's that time of the year. I live in California, so it's like 60, so we're freezing here. So like for us, this is like hot buttered rum weather.
Yeah.
It's snowing outside here tonight. I went to let the dog out. And it is snowing, so I'm thinking I need that recipe for sure.
Oh my
Yeah.
Where are you at, Dylan?
I'm in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota. Okay.
Yeah, she is.
I grew up in Texas, and I now reluctantly live in the north. So
definite change.
Yeah. We've had snow for about a week, and I went hunting yesterday, and up in the mountains there was about 6 inches. So I'm pretty excited about that. I want to go play in the snow over there, make snow angels up there and scare all the animals. But Kilby, 100%, I think we all want your recipe.
Pretty so, and you shall have it. It is, you know how some people hoard recipes or like, you'll never get it out of them. Like my mom's best friend, like she gave me a pie recipe of hers, like when I turned 40 or something crazy like that. So like, I will share the wealth. I will give you my recipes. I want everybody to experience this.
Well, and you have good recipes. I think you like to cook, don't you? Or is it your husband likes to cook? Because we did that tiramisu class online together during COVID. I mean,
that was
delicious.
That was so good that we told our children. We were originally like, oh, how are we going to eat all this? Sure, we'll share it with the kids. And then we were later like, this has alcohol in it. They shouldn't have it. This belongs 100% to us. It was so good.
Delicious.
I love you already. Oh my gosh, lying to your children. That's my MO. We do that all the time. Like, no, there's no. You ate your candy.
Right.
See the wrappers in there? That's you.
Yeah.
Kids didn't even go trick-or-treating this year. They all aged out of trick-or-treating. So I know we didn't get to lie about candy and steal all the good stuff. We only ended up having like, I don't know, 10 trick-or-treaters anyway. So we ended up having to eat what was left over. So it was.
Yeah. My husband, okay, so we're brand new in this town and we have, the new house in a small town, small country town. So we're like, okay, well, we better get lots of candy. So we got full-size candy bars. So 30 full-size candy bars and then like a huge bag and we had like 10 trick-or-treaters. And so like now I'm like sticking all the full-size candy bars in my husband's lunch every day. Just to get rid of them. But yes, we digress.
Just a little. What are you working on, Kilby? Are you doing NaNoWriMo? I mean, besides that glass of hot buttered rum, what are you working on?
Yeah, I'm cursed when it comes to Nano. I do try to do it every year, but either I've got bad luck and I'm like, there's something I have to edit because I'm in deadline, or I just like, it's never worked out. So I am technically writing for Nano. I'm writing a story about a firefighter who's young, who is interested in an older woman who wants nothing to do with him. It's not quite a May December because the age gap is only like 10 years, but like she still wants nothing to do with him. So I'm excited. I love my firefighter. He's so cute.
That sounds like fun. Only 10 years, huh?
Only 10 years, but like it's a big deal. She has
significant. That's a significant gap.
It's a thing, yeah, and he's in his 20s, and her husband died in flagrante delicto with a 19-year-old college student that he was cheating with. So she's super sensitive about like losing like younger men and like losing her looks. And she just like, she feels like she needs an older man because she wants to be the younger woman. So she definitely doesn't want to date the younger guy.
My kids were just teasing me tonight because right now, this time of year, my husband is 2 years younger than me. I mean, he's technically only 18 months younger, but, you know, half of the year it looks like 2 years. So they always give me a ton of grief over that.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine dating a man who's 10 years younger. But I see him on TikTok all the time.
Yeah, 20 to 20, he's early 20s to early 30s. That's a big deal. Like 40 to 50 isn't as big of a deal, but 20 to 30 is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fun. Well, can't wait to read that one. So do you have questions already, Dawn, or should we get into reading? Because I think we've got Tabitha's going to go first.
Yeah. Other than we want your recipe, you know, that's the only other question we have. So yeah, let's get right into the reading.
All right. So Tabetha, what do you have for us tonight?
I'm going to read an excerpt from my latest anthology that just came out. Ooh, Christmas on Scandal Lane. And so my story in it is called A Jolly Little Scandal, and it's going to be the prequel to my new Sensual Scandal series.
Ooh. All right. Well, we will let you get to it, and we'll be back when you're done.
Okay. All right, everybody. Don't get too freaked out. I do collect dolls, so pardon my back room. And this is actually my office, and I love Beauty and the Beast, so I try to have a library. So anyway, okay. So this is an excerpt from A Jolly Little Scandal. Let's see. I'll read you the little blurb that's on the back of this so you kind of know what's going on. So can't even talk. Okay, Lady Araminta Bevilstroke only wanted one thing from society, and that was to be recognized as an independent woman. Grayson Hartfield, the Earl of Somers, wants her as his future wife. As the Christmas season steadily draws closer, can he win her as his holiday bride without risking everything? Now, something about this is that this is a story. It starts about 4 sisters that are living together independently. So this is a conversation that is going on between 2 of the sisters. So what is it? Calliope nearly jumped up and down in her excitement surrounding the brown paper wrapped parcel that had been delivered the following morning. I can't say. Araminta glanced at her sister as she held the item in question. Perhaps there's a mix-up and your name should be on it. Are you sure you aren't expecting anything? Calliope huffed in exasperation. It has your name on it. Would you just open it? Araminta decided that in order to have some peace, she would have to do just that. She returned to where she'd been sitting in the parlor working on some embroidery while Isadora was out walking and Olivia was in the library as usual. Calliope had been working on some correspondence when the butler had brought in the package, which had ensued with the following uproar. As Araminta peeled back the paper of the mysterious package, she gasped at the image that was revealed. What is it? Calliope demanded once more. But when Araminta didn't immediately reply, her sister walked closer to look over her shoulder. She picked up the painting with the gilt-edged frame. There was a lone woman in the painting standing before a field with the orange glow of an early morning dawn before her. It's called Woman Before the Rising Sun by Caspar David Friedrich. She noted a card was carefully tucked behind the frame. She withdrew it and read, "To celebrate your independence." It wasn't signed, but Araminta didn't have to guess who it was from. She closed her eyes as a haunting vision of Lord Somers flashed behind her lids. She wasn't sure if this painting was meant as a jest, since she just refused any further attentions from him this morning, or even worse, if he had taken her rejection to heart and this was his way of leaving her alone. She sighed, for she wasn't that comfortable with either scenario. She carefully covered it back up with the paper. "What are you doing?" Calliope asked. "Sending it back." Her sister gasped as she stepped back and then moved around to glare at her. "You can't do that. It's a gift. It would be rude." "It's an improper one," Araminta said firmly. "A lady mustn't accept gifts from a man unless he is her betrothed or perhaps a devoted suitor. It gives the wrong impression." "You mean that you might actually like him?" Calliope crossed her arms with a snort. "Because you do." Araminta stood, the painting tucked under one arm, and faced off with her sister. "Leave it alone, Callie," she snapped. "This has nothing to do with you." She tried to leave, but her sister was persistent and blocked her path. "It doesn't? And what if I decided that I didn't want to grow into some old spinster like you and Isa? Perhaps I actually like the idea of marrying and having a family. Did you ever think of that?" This caused Araminta to pause. She turned back to Calliope. "Is that what you want?" she asked evenly. "Because when we left the estate, we all took a vote and agreed that we wanted to show the world what women of stature could do, other than subject ourselves to the bonds of wedlock." Calliope shook her head. "Have you ever considered the fact that marriage doesn't have to be a prison? If you marry for love..." This time it was Araminta's turn to snort. "That statement just shows how young and naive you are, Callie. Love fades in time, but marriage vows are forever. What may start out as an equal partnership will eventually turn into something sour." Calliope barked out a laugh, although her green eyes held censure. Sorry, can't talk. I'm better behind keyboard. Anyway, "When did you become so jaded in regards to romance? It's not as if you've been thrown over by a recalcitrant beau or left at the altar. Don't you remember how fondly father spoke of our mothers? All of them? I know the regard for him was just as strong, and yet you would make their union something sordid and tainted just because you're too scared to risk your heart on anyone." For a moment, all Araminta could do was stare at her sister. While Calliope was generally outspoken, this was the first time she'd actually accused her of being some sort of detestable crone. She lifted her chin. "Of course, you're entitled to your opinion, but that doesn't mean it's right." With that, she turned on her heel and left her sister standing in the middle of the parlor to gape at her retreating back. So that's what I have. That's what I chose for this one because it is kind of talks about, how she is devoted to her sisters and she just doesn't want anything to do with matrimony and she just wants to be on her own. And so I'm done.
Yay. So good. So I got a question. How did you decide that you wanted to write in this genre?
Let's see. Well, I wanted to write ever since I was 9, which has been a few years ago. And I think I always say that I read a lot of books, and I remember reading Bridge to Terabithia is a children's book, and it was so freaking sad, and I was like, oh my god, I don't want to be depressed when I read a book. And so my grandma was like, she said that she liked reading the Gothic stories, the 60s era and stuff, and where the woman running from the castle on the hill, and because she was like kind of a little bit of mystery. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll give that a shot. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome, and there's some romance. So I'm like, let's check out this romance stuff a little bit more, so it just kind of went downhill from there. Or
Yeah.
uphill. I don't know how you want to say it. Yeah.
So the Regency, you just from your childhood, like learning that that's the kind of genre you liked to read. Is that why you started writing in it?
Oh yeah. Well, of course, a lot of people say like Jane Austen and everything.
Oh gosh.
And and the Brontes, like Jane Eyre
Yes.
and stuff. I love the dark, brooding, kind of stories and stuff. And I always like to have some kind of mystery in it. It just I'm not sure if this question over there was for me, but it said there was a book that was most challenging to complete, and that would have to be the book that I'm actually giving away is Behind a Moonlit Veil. It was based on Jack the Ripper.
Oh.
And so I had to do a lot of research for that one, but I mean, it's just because I like the Victorian era too, and just the kind of morbid, strange, all of that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
the interesting parts of history to me.
Okay, let
I
me see
haven't
where
read
that.
that one yet, but I'm wondering, how do you work Jack the Ripper into romance?
Well, so we have a guy that is kind of investigating the Ripper murders because he thinks his wife ages ago had been murdered by the Ripper.
Oh,
And
okay.
if you look into Jack the Ripper history, there were some cases that were similar before Jack the Ripper actually appeared. And then there were a few cases that were similar after the fact. So, yeah. So I just kind of use that as part of the plot.
Got it.
So, Kilby, what about you? What is the most challenging book that you've ever completed?
Oh, I feel like every book feels like the most challenging book while you're writing it.
Amen.
Yeah.
I think probably the hardest one is a book called Spooning Leads to Forking that I wrote that I was finishing while I had COVID in like April of 2020. And for people who are not authors and don't know, if you put something up on pre-order, Amazon, like if you put something up on pre-order and you don't have the book ready, like you can put something up for pre-order and then you don't have to upload the book file until later. And at the very beginning of COVID, Amazon has since relaxed this because a lot of people were sort of like missing their book deadlines, but this was at the very beginning of COVID. And I just like, I had to like get the book through edits and just through a bunch of stuff, and it was a total slog, and it was really, really difficult to just like to get it out and to not miss my pre-order date, because if you do, Amazon penalizes you. So that was just like, I think I was delirious through an entire month of edits, and my team, like I had an editor who really like helped me. Like I would not have gotten it out if not for that team.
I was just gonna say, like, have you gone back and read it since then? Since you edited deliriously? Like,
I'm a little afraid to read it. I feel like I'm gonna read it and I'm definitely gonna wanna change some things.
You're like, oh,
Yeah.
that
So
was definitely COVID right there. Yeah.
yeah. I am afraid. Like it's actually I've had some audiobooks made since, and like I have not commissioned an audiobook for that one because I'm like I'm gonna want to change a couple things.
Yeah.
I think that book, as I recall, it was very well received. So wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember that book did pretty well.
It did, but it fell somewhat short of my original vision. So
Oh.
like I had some things that I wanted to do that I ultimately was like, I can't possibly, like I'm barely surviving here. So yeah, that writing through COVID was the hardest. That was
Yeah,
the hardest book I ever wrote.
I cannot imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can totally see that. All right, we do have one more question, and don't forget, and Karen said she doesn't have any questions for us tonight. I think we just got to give her some time and be like, Karen, we need your questions. We love your questions. She's on the road doing some book events. I mean, but Linda is stepping up to the plate, and we have a question from her. How many books have you written to date? Tabetha, let's start with you.
I just counted them because people always ask me this question. I'm like, I don't know. But this novella here, including, all the novels and novellas I've written, this one makes number 29.
Yeah.
So just a few.
Yeah. I'm usually just like, I don't know, over 20. Like don't ask.
Yeah.
Over
Yeah.
20.
I was just happy to have one. So and it seemed like it took me forever to finish one finally. But then when I did, it was like, okay. And they said the more you write, the better you get at it. And I hope that is the case, but I mean, it's just, yeah.
Well,
I'm better behind a computer, not talking. If you guys can't tell, I'm not a speech person.
Neither are we, and we've been doing this podcast now for what, 3 years?
Yeah. I'm an introvert. Let's just put it that way. Like, I'm a super introvert. Like, my daughter, we had a Veterans Day program today, and a couple weeks ago, my daughter's like, "Which one of you wants to speak at the high school Veterans Day thing?" And my husband and I are like, neither one of us. We don't like getting in front of people, but like this, I love you guys, so like I can totally do this, but I can't get up in front of my kids, like the parents at my kids' school, and speak for Veterans Day. Couldn't do that, but complete introvert, if you can't tell. Dylan's our resident extrovert. She keeps us all like
I don't know about
on our
that.
toes. Yeah, it's true.
So, Kilby, how many books do you have out?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like Tabitha. It's one of those questions that should be easy to answer, but by the time you throw in all the novellas and all the short stories, because it's as an author, it's hard to let go of characters, and sometimes you want to write them a little extra, little tiny story. And it's not really a book, but like you want to write them a little something extra. So I think it's probably I've 10 to 12 full-length novels and probably closer to 15 to 20 stories if you count the novellas and the short stories and the extended epilogues and the steamy holiday bonuses and all those things.
Cool.
Okay. So we must have challenged the readers or the viewers, because we do have questions now. So we'll start with Carrie's. Are there any genres that you like to read that you don't like to write? Ooh.
So for me,
Yeah.
I'm somebody who, like, you would be shocked at the stuff that I consume. Like, I write all of these I don't write sweet romance, but I always write these very loving, nurturing, like romantic situations that are super, super swoony. But then, like, I'll turn my computer off and turn on Netflix, and I'll be watching documentaries about serial killers and like American Horror Story. So there's a huge difference in what I consume and what I write.
Mhm.
And I could never write the like the horror, the gore, even just like even characters who are mean. But for some reason, it's like what I consume. It's like even like podcasts. I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts, and they're just like they're terrifying. But I write romance.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you do that to balance it all out.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's like some of the stuff I watch is like, why am I watching this? I have those moments where I'm like, why am I watching this? This is really disturbing.
Yeah. I like crime shows. I mean, like, I'll come up with all these philosophies. Like, I think so and so is trying to kill her husband, or like that kind of stuff, because I watch true crime shows, but I could never write it. Like, yeah, yeah.
So you're analyzing all your new neighbors? Is that what you're saying?
Not so much
You're
neighbors as
profiling
like,
them?
not so much neighbors as some of my family members.
Oh,
But
gotcha.
yes, absolutely. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe he's a cheater. Maybe he's a serial killer, or maybe
How about
she's
you,
a serial
Tabitha?
killer.
That was oddly specific, Dawn.
I feel like Dawn is over there, like the lady looking out the window, like they're doing something like the Burbs.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
remember
Oh
the
gosh,
Burbs?
I can't wait until I'm old and crotchety, because then I could like just be staring out the window, going, and then like I don't know, maybe I'll blog about it when I'm older, like about my neighbors, like make a blog about how I think my neighbors are trying to, kill each other. I don't know. I'm gonna do
That was the
something.
whole thing with, I mean, nobody talks about Desperate Housewives anymore, but that was the whole thing. There was somebody on the street who was like tattling on everybody.
Mm.
Who like
I didn't
knew
watch
everybody's
it.
business.
I mean, it kind of, towards the end, it got a little
Yeah,
over the top, over the top.
I didn't watch that.
Wisteria Lane. Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah.
How about you,
Okay.
Tabitha? Is there, what was the question? I lost it.
The genres that you like to
genres.
read that you
Yes.
don't write.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say I don't watch a lot of crime dramas. My big crime expertise was playing
Oops.
Clue.
I'm sorry. That's the next one. Sorry.
I did it.
But yeah,
Oh.
so I enjoyed playing Clue. So I mean that was like a whodunit, I guess. And I'm more into shows like right now I'm watching Squid Game. So I had to see what all that was about. Yes, it's so crazy. And I'm like, I know what I want to be for Halloween next year. But every time I look at all those symbols, I keep thinking in my mind, PlayStation. It looks like the PlayStation. So, but anyway, it's so cool. And my oldest daughter loves Korean dramas. So she's kind of got me hooked on some of those. But I try to watch them in English when I can. Even if it doesn't match their mouth, it's just easier for me not to have to read it all. I'm like, I like to read books, not shows. But anyway, otherwise, other than that, like J.R. Ward's Black Dagger Brotherhood. Love that series so much. I love the paranormal. And I like the way she does those vampires because I'm not really like into vampires, so to speak, but I like these guys. They're big and burly and just badass, and I hope I can say that, sorry. And then also I like some fantasy as well. I had written a young adult fantasy so my 14-year-old daughter could read it. And I was inspired after I read the Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas. I mean, of course, that's awesome as well. Yeah.
That's awesome. I got to meet J.R. Ward on the
Oh my God,
elevator.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, I said, I don't rate you, but my sister does. And she loves you. And she gave me an autograph book and she said, this is an arc that nobody else has. And I told my publisher that I'm going to give it to the first fan that I meet. And since your sister is a fan, and she did a Marco Polo with me for my sister. It was amazing. So yeah, I have a Marco Polo with J.R. Ward. So.
I probably would freeze if I met her off. I'd be like, I don't know what to say.
Well, I had my daughter with me. My daughter was acting as my assistant, right? And she's just like, beforehand, I gave her pictures of all the famous authors that we had to look out for. And so she's like, Mom, isn't that one of these ladies? And I'm like, yes, thank you.
So she's like your
yeah, she's like,
your hands were your spotter.
She is my spotter. She was the best assistant ever. I'm definitely taking her to my next book signing because she was like, I mean, she would fuss over me like I was super famous. Like, Mom, your lipstick, you know. Like, she made me feel so super famous, and she was great. But yes, we have more questions. Karen stepped up a little bit, and then yeah. Oh crap. My computer's about to die. I'm going to give you a question and then plug in my computer.
All right.
Where are you going on your next vacation?
Vacation? What's that?
Yeah, that's Karen is what that is.
I went to New York a couple of weeks ago, so that was a pretty cool vacation.
Nice.
I went for an event. It was Romancing the Gold Coast, so I got to play dress up, and we had a tea and the ball and everything. But I did some of the touristy stuff beforehand, and I loved it there. I love New York, and I would go back tomorrow. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that's where I met J.R. Ward. That's where we did too. My daughter and I just touristed the crap out of there. Yeah, I agree. Awesome.
Yeah.
So I have not been anywhere. We're people who like haven't been anywhere since the beginning of the pandemic, even though our families live really far away. So the vacation that I have planned is to Paris, actually for a book signing.
Oh, is it Rare?
So Rare in Paris. And somebody was like, "Do you want to go to Rare?" And this is like a year ago because the book signing, you have to sign up for the book signing so far in advance. And I was like, "Yes." So we have plane tickets, we have the Airbnb booked, like everything is ready, and I am so excited. I have not been to Paris in like more than 20 years, and it's like I'm really looking forward to it.
When is that?
That's awesome.
It's in April. Well, the Rare event is on like April 2nd or something like that, but I'm flying in March, and then we'll leave right after the signing. So
nice.
Super, super exciting.
That is amazing, and I'm super jealous. That's so cool.
For me, I'm like anything that I can write off as a business expense. I'm like, oh, well, my ticket to Paris is a business expense, and the Airbnb is a business expense. And when I was like studying wine because I was a wine writer, like I was expensing wine. I was like, all this wine that I have to taste, to take the exam is like a business expense. So like that's my
Mhm.
thing. Like it
Oh my
can cost me money,
gosh.
but if it's a business expense, it's like, all right, I'm there.
Yeah. So
My
do
book
you
habit, business expense.
so do you still do wine tasting? Can you write off the hot toddy as a business expense today?
Actually, I can, and I'll tell you why. Because I wrote an article about hot holiday drinks for a publication,
Oh,
and I actually did write off the related expenses as business expenses.
that's way cool.
Yeah. If you need financial advice, just come talk to me. I know all the tricks.
Okay, because I will, because I want to know everything I can write off. Because if I can write off all
Yeah.
this wine that I'm consuming for romance happy hour, I'm totally there.
Yes.
You
Writing
might
it off.
have to put wine in one of your books.
Yeah.
You're just researching.
Yeah.
Researching.
Totally.
Yeah. Like
Mhm.
Dylan, I mean, I don't know if you ladies know. I know our viewers do. Dylan got a whole freaking box full of like whiskey and crap. This book that she's got coming out soon, the whiskey series. Yeah, she talked to a distillery and they sent her an entire box full of booze. Doesn't
Wow.
even have to write that off.
I know.
Whiskey sours are my favorite.
Super exciting. Pennington Distillery. If anybody's in Nashville, look them up. It was really good.
Just gonna keep plugging their name every
I
show.
know.
We're gonna definitely do that. I'll plug him
So,
for her.
Dawn, are you going on vacation?
My husband really wants me to take me to Puerto Rico because he's been there so many times without me and he loves it. So, this is the first time we actually get to plan vacations. And so we don't know when we're going, but we're definitely planning a trip to Puerto Rico. And
Nice.
now I'm looking up Rare and gonna try to freaking get on one of those
Well,
because I'd like to go to Paris.
Mm-hmm.
they have them all over. Like in May is Edinburgh, which I can't do. In 2023 they're doing London. I just signed up for Melbourne in 2023. Like they do them. Like that's their whole thing.
Yeah. I got invited to two cruises this year, but with my husband retired and all that, so I'm like, well, I can't commit to a cruise, but gosh, what about you, Dylan? I know you go to your cabin a lot, but let's be
Mm-hmm.
honest, like that doesn't really count as a vacation.
No, that's more of an escape from
Yeah.
my children and families. Right.
But you have your children there half the time.
Sometimes, yeah. So yeah, it's not really a vacation. I'm going to California in a couple weeks just for a super fast weekend, LA area, because I remember like flying in on Friday and flying out on Sunday. So it's literally 48 hours for a baby shower for a cousin of mine.
Oh.
Because I haven't seen that side of my family in, years. So
Yeah.
I'm doing that. So I don't know how relaxing and vacation like that will be, but it'll kind of be a whirlwind. But it'll be fun.
Yeah, and it's not work related because usually when you travel, it's work related.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
that's my next trip.
Okay.
So should we have Kilby read? Because we want to make
We
sure we have time.
should. I'm trying to find this comment. And sorry, I was literally scrolling through that comment when you popped it up there and I thought I
Oh,
accidentally did.
sorry.
Let's
We didn't practice much ahead of time this time. Normally, yeah,
no.
we never practice. All right. So, what do you have for us tonight?
So I'm glad that Tabetha read something from a holiday book. I'm going to read something from my holiday novella called Loaded, a Holiday Romance.
I love this.
And ever since I got the audiobook of this made, which is very recently, the mother is technically English and I can't really do the accent, so I'm not gonna try, let's be clear. But if you want to hear the mother Kate in all her glory, you really have to listen to the audiobook because Nicole Lewis does a really great job reading it. So the basic situation is my hero Marsh is a secret billionaire who has never told the main character Jada about his family and his wealth because they're a little over the top. And he's been sort of hoodwinked into bringing her home for Thanksgiving, and he's very nervous, and he should be because there's a lot of characters in his family. Okay.
All right.
So what has just happened is that the mother Kate has just arrived, and she is about to compliment the heroine Jada, and it's in first person.
Okay.
Radiant as ever, darling, Kate murmurs as we embrace. She pulls back and keeps my hand in hers. Is it any wonder that my son is in love with you? I'm glad to see you, I smile, just as Kate takes my arm and begins walking me towards the hors d'oeuvre table. I'll just bet you are, Kate murmurs, too low for the others to hear, over conversations that pick back up. First time meeting Mama? I nod. She hasn't made an appearance yet. Kate hums in understanding. Don't let her smell fear. Stand your ground early on and she'll respect you for a lifetime. I must have seemed miffed for the look that crosses Kate's features then. She stopped short. Don't tell me Marsh didn't warn you. No, he did, I insist quickly, before quietly admitting. I'm just not sure I believed him. Kate picks up a cracker and chews thoughtfully as if there is something she's working out to say. Words seem more on the tip of her tongue as she swallows. I wait in anticipation for more advice at the same moment as Marsh's elated voice sounds from just next to us. Mom. Kate saves her warmest of hugs for her only child. Marsh's expression relaxes as he breathes his mother in, and I forget for a moment that I am annoyed. Few things are sweeter than a grown-ass man who loves his mom. Unicorn's a good look on you, he compliments her on her hair. Of course it is, darling. I'm made of magic. Apparently, she's made of modesty, too. Marshall Sr. chimes in. I watch the ensuing silent exchange with interest. I've never seen them in the same room together before. Kate and Marshall Sr. can't take their eyes off of one another. It's fascinating to watch, the wordless conversation that feels so intimate, I almost think I should leave the room. Is this how Marsh and I will be after we've known each other for 30 years? You know, except for the part where we're divorced? Marsh looks over his mother's shoulder, breaking up their stare. I thought you were going to bring Ashley, he says. Kate slips her coat off her shoulders and waves a hand toward the door. Oh, Ash is getting our bags out of the car. He should be here any minute. He? Marsh and Marshall Sr. say in unison, just as a tall, bespectacled man with a bohemian look about him appears just outside of the double doors. He sports a tan and bright blonde hair that is pulled back into a disorganized man bun. Layered beneath his fine gray jacket is a wheat-colored vest that may have been suede. It's buttoned once over a strategically wrinkled white linen shirt. The sleeves of the jacket itself are rolled up, revealing a silk pinstripe lining in lighter browns and beiges that match his vest. Full ink on both forearms snakes down towards his hand, where he easily holds two heavy-looking Louis Vuitton duffels. Evening, everyone, Ashley says in a voice a bit like velvet. Everything about him emanates peace. Perhaps that is why he takes his time making eye contact, one by one, with everyone in the room, including the baby. His gaze becomes warmer when it falls upon Kate. Where can I take these? Set them down for now. Come in, love. I want you to meet everybody. Three things happen quickly then. Susie shoots Kate a look of approval. Marsh pours his father a double, and Minnie's face goes from pink to red. Kate does the same for Ashley, as she did for herself moments earlier, starts with the family closest to the door and makes her way around. By the time she and Ashley make it back to where she started, Senior has already downed his first drink, and Marsh is pouring him another. Standard pleasantries are exchanged, though it is clear from Ashley's comfort that he's been primed with far more information about us than we have about him. He compliments my social justice work and mentions to Marshall Sr. that he stayed at one of the resorts his hospitality group managed. He even asks Marsh whether he can talk to him later about legal advice. What kind of advice? Marsh wants to know. I live on a farm, but I've had some troubles with my neighbors, Ashley explains calmly. I'd like to understand my goat's rights. Marsh blinks in astonishment. I nearly spit out my drink. And what exactly do you do? Marsh presses. I'm a shaman. By then, no one else in the room is pretending not to listen. Conversation quiets and the other occupants inch even closer. He's a Brahmin? Peter asks Jason, not nearly as quietly as he imagines. He teaches yoga, Jason hollers. I'm a human rights attorney, Marsh interjects, the expression on his face having gone from annoyed to perturbed. I don't think I can help with your goat situation. Human rights, goats' rights, they're all the same. Ashley casts Kate a glowing look. We're all people, right, my love? Marsh's jaw is clenched as he asks his next question. I'm in the market for a new shaman. How much does a good one run? Ignore him, darling. Kate is speaking to Ashley, but looking at Marsh. Sometimes he loses track of his manners. I'm confident he'll find them again by dinner. That's it.
Sorry, I have us all muted.
Love it. That's so funny. I like that. Even the baby.
And the goat's rights. Yeah.
And the goat's rights.
I mean,
But like,
goats must have rights. What kind of goat right research did you have to do for that?
well, I didn't have to do specific goats' rights research, but I did have to just draw from personal experience of what it's like to do holidays with my family. So nobody in my family is a secret billionaire, but my family holiday celebrations do feel quite bizarre.
Okay,
So
so
that was my inspiration.
with you saying that, has any of your family ever needed to promote their goats' rights?
No. There are family members where we don't really understand whether they have a real job.
Mm.
And trust me, my definition of a real job, like I think I'm not that judgmental, but like there's some people that were like, what do you do again?
Mm-hmm.
So has anyone ever brought an actual shaman to Thanksgiving?
I have been at a holiday celebration with a shaman. That was not a family holiday dinner. Because the other thing that you run into living in California is you just like run into people, like really random people at parties who are like, and it's like, what do you do? I'm sorry. Like, I live in Northern California. Northern California is a very specific place.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, California in general is a very specific place.
California in general is a specific place. Though depending on what city you're in, it's like some cities are more California than other cities. Like San Francisco and like Oakland and San Jose have a lot of transplants. And those are the cities that I live near. But like, I mean, yeah, if you get into like rural Northern California, that's its own thing.
That's fun. I can't wait to hear more stories from you. You need to come again.
Oh,
to our
I'm
show.
writing it. There's another story I'm writing that's about like a retreat where some people have like given up all their worldly possessions and they're following this swami, and it's like it's wild. Which like, and it's because I have met those people like at
Okay,
retreats in
I
California.
was just gonna say, like, how many of your books are based off of, like, do you have stories in there or backstories or like characters based off of your actual experience?
100%. I feel like, when authors are like, oh, these are not bait, like these characters, like anything is coincidental. I'm like, okay.
Because reality is always more, like, way more weird than fiction.
Totally.
I mean,
100% of my books have details from my actual life.
that's freaking awesome, and I can't wait to read all of your books now. Tabitha, what about you? Do you write? What was my question? I'm sorry. I've had 1.5 glasses of wine.
Oh, yes,
now.
I write. Yes. Yes. The answer is yes.
Yes.
I think she was trying to maybe ask, do you base a lot of experiences in your book on real life experiences or people?
Yes.
Something to that effect?
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you, Dylan.
Yeah. I think a lot of writers do, just because, things happen to you and you're just like, wow, I could write a book about that. How many times
Yeah.
did something happen and you're like, yeah, and then you're like, oh, well, I think I will actually. That'd make a good scene.
So who's your favorite scene? Who's your favorite character, or what's your favorite scene based off of your real life experience that you've written into your book?
Oh, man.
That's a
That's
really
a tough-
complicated question.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Well,
and I came up with it with 1.5 glasses of wine in my head.
Honestly, any kind of like wallflower, or just kind of the girl that wants to blend into the wallpaper. Yeah. That would be me. Yeah. Mhm.
What about you, Kilby? Crazy.
So there was in Snapdragon, interestingly, in Snapdragon there's a misogynistic boss who's really trying to submarine the career of the heroine. That is like 100% everything that happened in that book happened to me. And actually, when I got some reviews back from that book, people were like, yeah, that boss character was really caricaturized. And I was like, but some of these things happened to me, and I don't think that I sort of like over vilified him because it was a painful experience for me. I think it's like,
Mm-hmm.
some people, if you haven't had that experience, it's really difficult to relate to sort of how horrible it can be, like how horrible some people can be.
Mhm.
Um, so that's sort of my like painful experience of people that I'm drawing from. But um, I mean, all sorts of little character details. Like there's a part in this book where like she goes to his house and she realizes there's more canine portraiture than human portraiture, and like that's happened to me. Like I've gone to people's houses and been like, why are there so many oil paintings of dogs, right? And like one time I have a character in one of my books where this character gives up drinking water for 2 weeks because he claims that it has no nutritional value, which is something that my actual father did because my dad was a real piece of work. Like he always was just like contrary, and it
Mhm.
was hilarious. And he did things like that. So
Yeah,
I absolutely put things like that in my books.
that's awesome. That's really awesome.
Well, and it's
All right.
funny too, because oftentimes people will say, I mean, when real things happen in real life, and people will say, oh, some of the stuff you put in your book, they're like, that would never happen.
Yeah,
It's like, yes, because life is stranger than fiction, but that's
it
just it.
really
Like
is.
things that happen in real life, if you put them in your book, people wouldn't believe it because
Yeah.
it could
Yeah.
happen.
Like my sister, for my very first book ever, I based my character off of my sister Dusty, and she's the sweetest, most amazing person ever. But she is just super accident prone, and I mean the accidents find her. Like she doesn't even have to find the accidents. And I was writing that, and then literally after my book gets published, she gets shot. And I'm talking about like 9 buckshot in like all of her body. And I'm like, Dusty, what were you doing? She's like, I was just standing there. It was just somebody randomly. Like
Like,
she literally just was out. I mean, we live in Montana, so like and somebody like shot a buck at a bird, and she went like this, and so she got like a couple in her head and a couple in her back. And I'm like, you couldn't have got shot while I was writing the book, because then people would be like, no, you can't get shot like that. And I could be like, yes, you can, because my sister literally did it. Like it's
yeah.
reality is always crazier
Mhm.
than fiction. It really is.
It totally is. But when I write about people, I tell them. So like I have written about like ex-boyfriends and stuff like that, and then I'll like sign a copy and send it to them.
Yeah. Awesome. Especially the ex-boyfriend part. Like that's pretty cool.
Do we have any other questions?
We have one. Well, we have one and a half. I mean, the half is because
Okay.
it's for me and you. But where is your favorite place to write?
So I walk while I write. My favorite place to write is to dictate while I'm on a walk.
Wow.
Hmm.
What do you use for that? I've started looking into that, and I was trying to figure out what exactly I would use.
I have been having better luck nowadays with Google Docs, believe it or not, than anything else. And I used to have Dragon for dictation, and that was fine for a while, but for some reason, like a lot of it has to do with the headset. My current headset and sort of like my current setup likes uh, Google Docs.
I was trying to dictate into Google Docs though, and then it keeps turning off.
It doesn't turn off for me when I'm on my phone. My phone doesn't auto turn off.
I'll have to look into that. I don't know if there's a setting I'm missing. But yeah, there are a lot of authors who do dictate, or they'll write on their phone.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
The
Mm-hmm.
thumbs and
Maisie Yates is big on dictating.
everything.
She's
I would like to get to the
massive.
point where I can dictate. It doesn't feel natural, but I'm sure that with enough practice, you can start to kind of change that way that you get the story out there. I'm hoping.
I could never do that because I would get too tongue tied, I think. And then I'd be like, what was I even saying at that point? This scene doesn't make sense to me. So I always write on my laptop, and I used to write on my couch, before we moved, and now I have my own office. So now I sit at my desk in my chair and right there. But I have to have music. I mean, and it doesn't
Yeah.
just have to be like just soft like spa music. I mean, it can have words and stuff. I can tune it out because a lot of times, like the song will go with the scene.
Mhm.
So, I mean, and I think a lot of people do that. I mean, I can't read or write without music. So,
So do you have a playlist?
oh yeah, on Spotify.
Do you have just like one playlist, or do you make it for each book?
No, I just have one playlist.
Mm.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah,
you,
I can't
Kilby?
do it with music. I can't write with music on. I used to, if I had to, push comes to shove, when I used to, at one point I had like a noise problem. There were like birds in my attic and there was this big battle with my HOA, and like long story short, at one point in my writing career for like maybe a couple months, I had to write at Panera every day, and like I had a playlist to try to drown out noise, but for my brain can't do both.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
Wow. It's so interesting to find out like the difference in everybody, and all writers. Because I remember once my mom was like, when I first started writing, well, you know what you should do, because I heard that this author does it this way, then that's what you should do. And I'm just like, no, mom, that's not what works for me, So yeah, that's crazy. I love hearing how like everybody's process, like what everybody's process is, for sure. Um, the last question, Dylan, is for me and you. What were your kids for Halloween, Don and
My
Dylan?
kids weren't anything. They didn't
Yeah.
go. Mm-mm.
Yeah, and mine, my oldest was working. He is a working man now because he's a senior in high school, so he's all grown up, And my daughter was a siren, and then and I made her dress. Like we got the material and everything. And then my boys, a SWAT team member and a Navy SEAL.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah. Usually they're a cowboy and a dinosaur, but this year SWAT team and a Navy SEAL. So yeah. And that's it for us tonight. So
All
Dylan,
right.
you want to
Wow,
take
we
it
got all
away?
the questions. Yay,
Yeah.
us. So I have one more question. What is everybody doing for the holidays this year? I mean,
Mhm.
it feels like it's still so far away, and I do this every single year. Like I haven't started really doing any of my Christmas shopping or anything, and it always feels like it's so far, and then boom, it's here. So
Yeah.
I know it feels so far, but I was thinking about that, Dawn. We have one more romance happy
One
hour
show.
show
Yeah.
in 2021. I mean, that's kind of
And I'm
crazy.
not gonna lie, I love you all very much, but I'm very excited to spend Thanksgiving with my family. I am.
Well, this will be your first Thanksgiving in Montana, so it'll really be
Yes.
your Thanksgiving with your family. So, are you
Yep.
having a get together and?
Yep. We're doing Thanksgiving. We're hosting it. My dad's coming up next weekend for a little bit, and then so my sister's doing a pre-Thanksgiving dinner. And then on Thanksgiving, my husband and I are hosting Thanksgiving for the rest of us. And then Christmas, my mom is having her big, and this is the first year we get to attend. Every other year, she has Thanksgiving or Christmas at her house, and big white elephant. Like she's all about it. We've been talking about it for about a month now, since Halloween, and I'm helping her plan it out. So I'm pretty excited we get to spend Christmas at my mom's, and that's what we're doing. What about you, Dylan?
We will be here. Nobody's coming. Nobody lives by us. So yeah, we will be here for Thanksgiving by ourselves. And then I think my mom is coming for Christmas. I don't know if my sister is coming or not. Because
Fun, though.
her kids are like actual grown-ups and have jobs. And so now, when you have to plan around that, it's kind of a drag.
Now,
And
this is your sister that now lives in Texas?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
How about you guys? Tabetha and Kilby, will you be around for the holidays, or are you doing something fun?
Well, we don't travel unless sometimes we'll go to Iowa to see my husband's mom and stuff. So sometimes we'll go up there and have Thanksgiving. Otherwise, I just I have my husband and my 2 girls, and we'll just go down and a lot of times see my grandma. She's 88 years old, and she raised me since I was 2. So she's very, very special lady to me. So we always go down and take her some turkey.
Aw, I love that so much. I love grandmothers. I really do.
She's a special one. Like I said, she was always my mom because,
Yeah.
like I said, she raised me, and so
Yeah. But you, Kilby?
Well, we do not generally travel over Thanksgiving because we're in California and our families are on the East Coast or elsewhere in the world. So we always do Friendsgiving, where we usually have somebody over our house for Friendsgiving, and then other friends of ours do Friendsgiving on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So it'll probably just be just like that sort of thing, hitting different people's houses and just relaxing.
Mhm.
please tell me it's like Friends. I'll come over with some fat pants on and a turkey with sunglasses on my head.
Oh yeah.
It kind of is like that.
But
I like that. There's no vanity. Like growing up, like the Thanksgivings we went to in my house, the family Thanksgivings, like everybody would dress and the table would be really like fancy. Like it was very like Martha Stewart. And it's like, no, when you come to my house for Thanksgiving, like wear your jeans, take off your shoes, like
Yeah.
take a nap.
This is the
yeah,
first year.
take a
This
nap,
is
unbutton
this
your
is
pants.
this is the first year that we haven't. So traditionally, because my husband was in the military previous to this, he just retired a couple of months ago. But we always went camping. So we spent most of our Thanksgivings camping, like nothing really at all. So this is our first year hosting. So we're pretty kind of excited about that.
Thank him for his
But
service.
yeah,
It's
well,
Veterans
thank you.
Day too.
Yeah,
So
yes.
Okay.
So, oh man.
Well, on that note, I think that does it for this episode of Romance Happy Hour. We will not be back in 2 weeks because we will hopefully everybody will be enjoying family Thanksgiving with their loved ones, but we will be back the second Thursday in December for our last show of 2021. And we do have some big stuff coming for the
Yeah,
holidays.
we do. But can I just say, I'm just going to add, except for Linda, because didn't she just celebrate her Thanksgiving?
In
She's
Canada?
in Canada. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Canadians don't celebrate American Thanksgiving. You are right, Dawn.
Yes. I just wanted to note that I think Linda just celebrated her Canadian Thanksgiving, but we will be celebrating our American Thanksgiving
Yes.
in 2 weeks. So, yes. And big things coming next month. So,
yeah, we have a big holiday party coming up. So if you are not already in the Romance Happy Hour Facebook group, go ahead and hop over there. And we have also an awesome giveaway. Kilby and Tabetha have a giveaway up on the Romance Happy Hour Facebook page. We're going to leave that open until Sunday night. So make sure you get your entries in for that. And anything else that we have this week, Dawn?
Not this week, I don't think.
Okay.
Just keep an eye out for. Should we announce what we're doing since it's going to be before the next show?
Sure.
Okay. We're just going to be doing a countdown to 2022. So we're going to start on December 1st. And we're going to be just showing you all the amazing books that our authors, for our features authors, past and present, have given to us. So we're gonna be doing a countdown, giveaways, daily giveaways for the month of December, and then we're going to be doing one massive giveaway where you will get just, I think you're just going to stuff your Kindle like a stocking stuffer Kindle kind of thing full of books. So
it should be lots of fun.
Yeah,
yes.
Tons of fun.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. We hope that you have a great rest of your week, and we will see you in the group and on the page, and we'll see you a month from now. It's going to feel like forever, but yeah, we'll see you a month from now for our next episode, our last one of 2021. So, all right.
Yes.
Thanks, Tabetha, for being with us. We really appreciate it and enjoyed you sharing your work with us so much. So
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
absolutely. All right. Bye.
Bye.